carbon price is to internalize the external costs that are caused by emissions. So people are affected differently by this carbon price. Whether I own a car, how I heat, whether I use natural gas or whether I have a heat pump, etc. makes a difference. And this is the reason why we developed CPIC, the Carbon Pricing Incidence Calculator.
A CO2 price has three functions. First, it makes carbon-free technologies competitive on the market. The second function is it penalizes the use of coal, oil and gas according to their carbon content. And the third function is to generate revenues. And with these revenues, low-income households can be compensated, and this is a prerequisite for a just transition.
The CPIC now allows to dig deep into the distributional effects of carbon pricing in about 90 countries, covering nearly 6 billion people. We can do various things. First of all, the classical thing, are the poor more affected than the rich or vice versa? But the CPIC can do more. It can look into the entire distribution. Then we can look how high a carbon price is and how its design looks like. So for example, is it applied on the national level, on the international level? Is it only in the electricity sector, only in the transportation sector? And finally, and this is maybe the most important thing of the CPIC, is that we can look into various redistribution schemes. Do we give people transfers? How do we give people transfers, or do we cut taxes? Do we subsidize the electricity consumption, etc.? Like all of these things can be looked at the CPIC, and we can then compare the resulting distributional outcome to the distributional outcome without those revenue recycling schemes.
Global warming is on the rise and has a severe impact on people and the planet. We therefore urgently need to decouple economic growth from CO2 emissions. Carbon pricing helps to incentivize investments into low-carbon technologies and prevents a dangerous carbon lock-in. GIZ supports many partner countries in designing carbon pricing strategies and instruments. But how can this be done in a socially fair and just manner? CPIC is exactly such a tool and is now being implemented in Mexico and Uganda.
Uganda appreciates the fact that climate change is affecting the country's economic and social setup. The country is committed to greenhouse gas emission reduction. One of the policies being put in place is carbon pricing. We need to understand the impact of these policies to the population. CPIC tool will greatly help us in analyzing this impact and being able to increase debate on the policies and make them implementable.
The CPIC is great because it allows everybody in many countries to really get a glance of the distributional implications of carbon pricing. We can really provide, based on rigorous analysis, based on peer-reviewed research, we can provide people with exactly this information. It's not only policymakers who get this kind of information, it's also unionists or NGOs that can then bring it again in the societal discussions in a deliberative process.